Hi, my name's Gaby. I won the Space Award and I'm doing my 1 long-month residency at Space Studios in Ilford. My practice is mostly using painting and film. I'm currently working with inks and looking to kind of transition into oil paints. And I'm mostly concerned about kind of the social pressures that queer bodies face. I'm interested in how cities develop and how kind of different sites of gentrification, consumerism, and kind of the impacts that those have on queer identity. So I guess I used the 1 month residency in Ilford to have an exhibition space where I invited people by appointment only to see my work following COVID restrictions. And I wanted to show a series of 6 new paintings, which are ink works. And the title of the show is called Inner City Pressure. So in the paintings, I guess these individuals kind of follow a failed logic for survival purposes in which they embody a kind of patriarchal quality to their identity. And the more they try to assimilate into this identity, the more their kind of bodies, their facial pigmentations kind of disappear and change, ultimately kind of saying that the more queer bodies try and assimilate into a narrative which isn't theirs 100%, the more it will lead to kind of deconstruction of identity. So in all the works, the body is kind of stretched, obscured, decompressed to kind of really delve into a kind of queer archive. I think the grant was hugely important, and I think there should be more stuff like it. Applying for this grant was like super simple, super easy, and made it extremely accessible. And I think stuff like that is super important because at the end of the day, when we talk a lot about content in work, about themes, about feminist and queer discourse, it's kind of like who can afford to talk about these things, who can afford knowledge, and to have funding accessible to kind of produce your kind of sometimes slightly radicalized ideas is like really empowering, I think, as a young person. And there should be more things like this, especially if we want to sustain like the next generations of creatives, kind of individual voices or people on the fringes or outskirts of kind of the dominant art scene, which I think is like amazing in a way. And I know that at the start of the pandemic, there was a lot of other grants which involved like heavy application processes, but their funds was only like £2,150, £250, and to be honest, that's just not enough. Like I think getting 5,000 is a hugely generous and sustainable like amount to get as a young artist. Because for me personally speaking, it will sustain me. It can pay for my studio rent for about like 6 months or something, which is a kind of dream come true, I guess, if you're an artist, especially within a pandemic, yeah.